Good afternoon, and welcome to the SCRD Board meeting of Thursday, July the 13th, 2023. I'd like to acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District is on the territories of the Sechelt and Squamish Nations. We have an agenda in front of us that, as far as I know, has not been amended. Are there any further changes, alterations, spelling corrections? If none, I would like to see a motion to approve the agenda. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Great, we have an agenda. So, first up is the regular board meeting minutes of June the 22nd. Has everybody checked the minutes to make sure their name is spelled correctly? Any changes? If not, I would like to have a motion to adopt those minutes. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Great. Next up, the minutes of the very memorable special meeting, July the 6th, 2023. Any amendments, corrections, changes? Seeing none, motion to adopt. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Moving on to business arising. I had a minor question, and that is whether there is any update on the Highway 101 fencing or not. And look, it is GM Gagnon. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. My update will be very short. Can everybody still hear me? Thumbs up? Okay. Something's gone wrong with my end, but it's all good. The update is that we are still waiting to hear back from the provincial team from Modi that came out to assess and to provide us standards, and then we'll look at where to go from here. So more to come, but we are on top of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. The next thing on our agenda, seeing no other hands of any sort, is the Committee of the Whole recommendations 1 to 8 of June the 22nd. Annex C. Do we have any changes, amendments, improvements? So, and nobody wishes to pull any recommendations, because if you do not, then I'm looking for a motion to adopt the recommendations. Moved. Seconded. Everyone in favor? Good. 8 recommendations down. Who knows how many to go? So, Annex D, Water Supply Feasibility Study Report. And could I put it over to Sashindra? Because I can manage your first name, I'm still working on your last name. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So, yeah, provided to you is the contract award recommendation for groundwater investigation phase 5 contract with Calvi Water Dynamics Incorporated in the amount of $314,600. Of that, $15,000 is contingency, and we have the option to award up to 5 wells. Currently, we are awarding this contract for 3 wells, and budget permitting, we can go for the all 5 wells, and staff recommends you to approve the recommendation before you as presented, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And do we have questions about, I see Director Toth.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, obviously drilling some wells is great. Drilling more wells would be better. Looking at the table on page 21, I'm assuming the difference between what's listed here from the proponent and the actual amount that's being suggested within the report is it those 2 additional wells? Just seeking some clarification there.
Yeah, 429,000 is for 5 wells.
Thank you. So following up from that then, given that we got the good news recently that we don't have to remove the siphons, from Chapman and Edwards Lake this year. We have some funding set aside for that, and I'm wondering if we can repurpose that funding to drill the additional 2 wells that are suggested originally.
That is obviously a question needing a staff response. Volunteers.
Thank you, Chair. So I believe staff can look into that. I think there's a couple of projects within the financial plan right now. One is for Edwards Lake siphon removal as part of last year's 2022 drought response plan, EOC, and then there was an additional 100,000 project for the removal of the Chapman. So I think what we need to do internally is just see the sources of funding for that, and we'd probably have to also speak with our procurement team to see what options we have in order to do this. And what steps we'd have to take. So we suggest perhaps coming back at either next week or the subsequent week's committee meeting to give an update on that. As a side note too, Chair, I would just suggest we award and proceed with at least getting that going, and then see how we can incorporate the additional 2 wells.
Thank you. More wells is better, potentially. Did you have a further question, Director Toth?
Well, I'm willing to make that motion after we deal with the rest of it. I'm just leaving my hand up. But if there are no other questions.
Yes. As I mentioned this morning, the new directors here have not been through the whole well process. So could we just get a rough idea? I assume the consultants will go away and do a desktop study. Do we get a report back with the results of the desktop study, and then roughly when do we think that actual test drilling of wells might take place? Thank you.
So, thank you. So, per the consultant's schedule, they are supposed to like do the desktop study within like 3 months of award. So once they do that, I can like arrange them to provide an interim report before they go into like proceeding to do the drilling. We can actually arrange that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's my recollection from the last time, is that we saw a report with the desktop studies and the potential sites for drilling, which was very interesting. Director Inkster.
So my question then is, if we have the motions in front of us that have a contractual commitment based on a contractual dollar amount and number of drills to occur, if we add another couple of drills, can that be added on top of the contract? Is it more expensive to then do it after the contract? Do we delay this contract in order to include the additional wells so that it makes sense, because once they mobilize and drill, that's probably cheaper if we do them all at once with the company. So just to make sure we do it properly, efficiently, financially responsibly, and get more wells drilled. Thanks.
Thank you. I see staff arranging themselves.
Thank you for the question. So the original RFP did entail up to 5 wells to be drilled, and that's what was quoted, and that's shown in that table. So, you know, one option, so the quote has been provided for 5, and then we broke it down to 3 wells to fit within the allocated budget. So in talking internally, we can, you know, verify with procurement if possibly we could add the additional 2 wells back in via a contract amendment with a consultant is a possible option that we'd have to look at. But to be clear, it was quoted for all 5 wells, and that's what was requested as well. Thank you.
Follow-up?
Just a process question then, just to make sure that we're doing this properly in terms of the original contract through, I guess, you to staff, maybe the corporate officer, that we're following the contract, and once we add the additional wells based on the original negotiated amount, once they go to procurement, that means a number of questions and a change perhaps to the language within the contract. So that's, I'm just trying to make sure. Thank you.
Lovely. Over to staff.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So I think at this point, if we awarded the 3, and I think this might be part of the question, would then be more efficient to just wait and award everything later? That is one of the options that we possibly could do. However, there could be some timing constraints, so we only have certain days between contract awards. So without knowing that and having that information here, I can't answer that. So in order to, alleviate any risk, that's why we're saying, award based on 3. And then what it would be, as you've seen in many times before, is we do a contract amendment. So it would likely mean a change order potentially, or we could catch up. It would be completed at the same time, where we award the contract for the total 5. Because we don't have another meeting until another week from now, and it also isn't a board meeting that you're having, this won't be able to be executed until the 27th. So what I want to make sure is that we get the work started or get something going, and that we allow also for a process to be able to get the full information in front of you to make a decision, as well as we don't see that there's a risk to adding the other 2 wells to Manager Miserak's. It was requested to do up to 5, so we see that there's little risk to doing this work.
Thank you very much. Director Toth.
Thank you, Chair. And I apologize for sort of derailing the conversation there a little bit with that question. It's going to take some time to do the desktop study. It's going to take some time for the contractor to sort things out and figure things out in their timelines, I'm sure. I'm happy to move the recommendations on page 20 as presented. And then once we've voted on those, I may have another recommendation. Thank you. Motion.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? We have a seconder. Thank you very much. Any further discussion on the motion on the floor?
Yes. So if I'm to understand this, that we can choose now to accept the contract at the $375,000 for 3 wells, or we can ask for 5 wells at $429,500. Is that what I'm hearing? That's not what I'm understanding then. Can you clarify that for me?
Over to our CFO.
So at this point, what you're going to award is, I think, is in the recommendation, which is that you would, in the recommendation right now, is that a contract be awarded for a value not to exceed $330,000. So I would recommend that you approve the recommendation in front of you, and I believe there's a subsequent motion afterwards to potentially investigate to add the 5. So keep this one intact, and then we'll deal with the second part afterwards.
Excellent advice.
Thank you.
You very much. I see no further hands up, so I'm calling the question. All in favor of the motion? And that passes. Thank you very much. And over to Director Toth.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to make a motion to have staff bring back options to include 2 additional test wells within the current financial plan.
And we have a second. Excellent. Thank you very much. Is there any further discussion on that? I am not seeing any, so I'm calling the question. All in favor? Excellent. That passes too. Thank you very much. We definitely need wells. We're looking forward to it. Okay. And so next item on the agenda is the communication from the Vice President of the Roberts Creek Community Association. Perhaps the Director for Roberts Creek would have something to say.
I would like to speak to this. So I've been talking with staff, and we've come up with a motion to address this letter, and I'm going to read it for you now. That the correspondence from Karen Spicer, Vice President, Roberts Creek Community Association, dated June 25th, 2023, be received for information, and that a letter be sent to the Roberts Creek Community Association in support of their application to the Destination Development Fund grant for the Roberts Creek Community Hall Infrastructure Project, and that the letter note that the project may have implications for adjacent SCRD-owned land, is subject to regulatory requirements, and that some aspects require final approval from the SCRD.
Do I see a seconder? Alton did, sorry. Watching too many directions at once. All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you, that passes. All right, oh dear, it's bylaw time, isn't it? All righty. So, we have here, final reading, I believe, of bylaw 1087.1, a bylaw to amend Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Service, establishing bylaw number 1087, 2017 to extend the boundary. Do I have a motion for final reading? Moved. Seconded? Seconded. All in favor? And that passes. Excellent. Look at us whizzing through agendas today. So, next item up is director's reports. And I am going to start at the far right with Director Toff.
Now, is that stage right, or, yeah. Thank you, Chair. I don't have anything to report today.
That was quick. Director White, do you have a report?
No report.
Director Gabius.
Thank you. I'll throw in a couple of things. I want to say congratulations and well done to Director Toth, who organized a very beautiful Siaya Day parade. And I was part of the library float, and we got lots of love. People love the library. People love the anime club and all the different services. So well done, Director Toth. That was great. And this weekend is the Half Moon Bay Fair. Come and join us for the fun.
Wonderful. And next to Roberts Creek.
So when was the last time I made a director's report? Was it at our last special board meeting, or?
No, we
Yeah, we didn't do one 2 weeks ago, so it's been since the 22nd of, when was it? The 13th? Oh, no, the day is the 13th. There's been so much that's happened since then. I attended a 2-day conference in Vancouver on the toxic drug supply, and I sent a report out to all the other directors. I attended the Housing Action Table announcement of the Housing Needs Assessment Project, and that was very informative. I've been talking with my constituents. I don't know who's got another mic open. And I look forward to the upcoming summer break at some point. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to go back to the other end now. Director Stanford.
I just have one update from Area F, West Howe Sound. The RV that was sitting off on Smith Road for 10 and a half months disappeared over the weekend, and we're very happy. Thank you to Moti or whoever moved it.
Thank you very much. Director Inkster.
Thank you. As was mentioned, pats on the back for the events that happened a week and a bit ago. We're almost, I think, back to pre-COVID numbers. So the world is coming back to normal, it looks like, and good on the board member who helped organize that. He got to get his less serious face on by the Sunday, I think, so that was well done. Obviously, just to let you know, Seashelt, Festival of the Rolling Arts, drag races, and the Festival of the Written Arts very soon. Once again, everyone here is welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Director Lee.
Thank you, Chair. Just keep it a little short here. I attended Scredo AGM on June 6th, and they have 3 new directors, Aaron Joe, Darnell de Seegers, and Gaetienne Royer were all appointed as new directors. And Sarah Zacharias has resigned as a director. And they're considering getting involved in the hillside development. I don't know if they made a decision to do it, but they talked about it, so that was cool. And just so everybody knows, I probably mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. We're getting ready for Pender Harbor Days on August 4th, 5th, and 6th, and it'll be an all-wooden boat festival. And you're welcome to go aboard and talk to the captains and do all that stuff. And there will be some things on the shore as well. And if you want to try practicing a rowboat, there'll be a couple of rowboats there you can take out and row around the harbor if you want. So should be lots of fun. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to go last, and I didn't prepare much of a report today. I appreciated a bit of a tour of Gambier Island with Director Stanford. She took Director Gavius and I for a ride in her magnificent machine. And yes, and there are no festivals taking place in Elphinstone in the next few days, so I guess we'll all have to go visit the other areas where the action is happening. So that takes us, I believe, to the end of our agenda. We have no new business that I am aware of. We do have an in-camera meeting. So I would like to move that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with Section 91G, I, K, and 2B of the Community Charter. Can I see a motion? Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you very much. We're going to take a bit of a recess for a while, and we will be back. Are there any questions from the gallery? And no, there is no gallery. So that ends that. So thank you.
welcome back to our regular board meeting of July 13th. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Yes, Director Toss, seconded Director Inkster. All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was good.